Hey guys, what's going on? It's Matt Wenning at winningstrength.com. And today on Winning Wednesday, I wanted to talk a little bit about the picture that's been circulating with Dave Batista and how much weight he has lost in the last year or two. And I think that what we have to start off with is one, understanding that as we age, it becomes harder, if not nearly impossible, to hold on to the same size, mass, and muscle strength, etc., that we had when we were younger. I'll give you my personal explanation on that. I'm still around 250 to 255 right now, and I'm starting to realize that in my mid 40s, much more difficult to sustain than in my 30s and even up into close to 40. Seems like there was a big difference between the ages of about 40 to about 44. I'll be 45 here in about a month. Now, with that being said, I think that what we should probably do is cut some people some slack. So with Dave Batista, for example, I don't know him, never met him before. Uh, he was in his prime probably around the years of around 2006 to 2012. And at that time, he would have been about 35, 38 years old. I can tell you right now that I was at my biggest and my leanest at about 35 to 38 years old. Same thing with guys like Mark McGuire. We look at guys like Jose Canseco. And I know we're talking a lot about guys that probably, if not have admitted to utilizing anabolic steroids. But even if they're using performance-enhancing substances, there is still going to be a line drawn in the sand for all of us, and some of that's going to be genetic on how long we can stay that jacked. Personally, in my opinion, I think that Dave Batista is doing the right thing health-wise, being in his mid-50s is starting to lean out and not carry so much muscle mass. I know that we get caught up a lot in, oh, we want to be the biggest and we want to be the strongest and all that, and it's a great goal to have in your 20s and even in your 30s. But as you'll start to notice, the guys that are really big and really jacked up into their 40s, they start having a lot of health issues. And you start to see this more prevalent in guys that are extreme lifters like strongman, powerlifting, and professional bodybuilding. So what I would say to the general public and you guys on YouTube and my followers on Patreon, et cetera, is have realistic goals to what you can sustain and what's achievable. I think that Batista has been built pretty badass for quite a few years. I think the other hard part we have with guys like Batista, which is an example of my generation, is that we're not young anymore. You know, I remember when Batista first came on the WWE scene, somewhere around 05, 06, I don't have the exact dates on that. That was 20 years ago, and it's hard to realize that, and it's hard to take it in. But you think about it, in 1980, that would have been 1960, and that just seems unfathomable to a lot of people, especially in my generation. So what does this mean? Well, this means that we have to put health first. And one of the biggest factors in doing so is making sure that you understand is that muscle costs a lot of organ energy in order to sustain and also to maintain. So creatinine levels become a huge importance when you're bigger because you have more muscle tissue, you're going to create more muscle damage. Therefore, your kidneys and your organs are going to have to flush out and function at a higher rate than the normal person. So I do find that there is a delicate balance between how much weight you can hold and how well your health can sustain it. And that battle starts around 40 to 45 for nearly all of us. And I feel like Batista, within the last 10 years, has done a really good job of trying to sustain it as much as possible. But I'll find that in the mid-50s, and for a lot of us, it's just not going to stay that way. There's only really, if we look at this particular scenario, one Mike O'Hearn. And Mike O'Hearn seems to not age, and he seems to be doing really well. And now I know him amazingly. I've known him for like 20 years. We've trained together. He is a phenom beyond all types of people. I put him in the top 3 of all time of not only being just a physical freak, but being able to last as long as he's lasted. I want to say that he's close to 55, maybe even a little over now. And his ability to sustain that amount of leanness and that amount of mass is unprecedented to what we've ever seen in human history, in my opinion. Guys like Dave Batista and those guys that probably use performance-enhancing drugs, you can only sustain that type of usage for so long. If we go back and look at different videos and footages of Batista in his prime, you'll notice he has a very high red tint, and he has a lot of vascularity for his size, which is very indicative of utilizing performance enhancing drugs. And I'm not here to say yay or nay, but what I am here to tell you is that that road only lasts so long. And it's one of those reasons that I personally still train really hard, probably harder than anybody else I know at 44 years old. But the problem is that I can't sustain that world-class strength like I used to even in my mid-late 30s. And I have to be willing and comfortable with letting some of that go and focusing more on what I know versus what I can do. And I find that that is a huge problem for a lot of people, that they can't let go. And a lot of times their health starts to suffer for that. So lucky enough for me, I was able to catch some of the problems that I was having before they became life-threatening events. So I wanted to get that out there. Now, the last thing I wanted to mention, and if you're still watching this video, you're probably an avid follower, and I don't need to say this, but you're going to notice that on the YouTube channel where I post this and a lot of other videos, I don't tolerate a lot of poor comments and just negative energy. I know that it's hard for you to believe because I have 6 figures in the following amount, but I do not make any money posting these videos on YouTube. So for people to come at me and say, oh, you're cutting him off, or, you're a terrible interviewer or whatever. Well, first of all, the big thing of it is, guys, is a lot of those interviews that we reproduce are very old. The one we did with Flex Wheeler is like 2017 or 2018. And I was just getting started learning how to even do those interviews, let alone I was excited to have Flex Wheeler in my gym. So I find that it's very disrespectful to have people on there talking shit that I've never seen them post about anything. They probably haven't bought anything from the website. They're basically just scumbags. And so what you'll find is that I don't tolerate that, and people will be immediately blocked. If you have some kind of constructive criticism and you do it in a nice way, I don't care. That's fine with me. But if you're posting negative energy and you don't have a page, and you're not using a real name, and you're using some fronting name that is not this masking actually who you are, I don't care about your opinion, and I don't want your advice on how to do anything. So if you see on other message boards or things of that nature, you start to see people bashing me and saying I'm a dick, and I don't take comments, the way that they think it should be taken. Sorry, that's just me. So again, I do that page because I want people that actually want help to get the help that they deserve. And I don't care how big that channel gets. I don't care if it ever hits 1 million viewers or followers or subscribers. All I care about is trying to give videos to the people that hold my particular time, effort, energy, and education in high regard. So with that being said, if you see a comment on a YouTube video and it's negative, and then the next time you go to look and it's not there, that person has been blocked permanently from my page, and they will never see any of that content ever again. So again, I make plenty of money doing my contracts. I do this on the side to make sure that people worldwide can see what to do and how to do it correctly. So again, treat those videos like you're getting it for free, and also make sure that you're respecting my time, effort, and energy on those videos. Talk to you guys soon, and please visit WenningStrength.com.